Once it was a hot afternoon in a crowded city. People rushed by, busy with their lives, cars honking, phones ringing, no one looking up. On the corner of a busy street sat an old beggar named Thomas. He wore torn clothes, and his hand shook as he held out an empty tin cup. Every morning, he sat at the same place, not begging loudly, just waiting quietly. Sometimes, people dropped coins. Sometimes, no one even looked at him. But Thomas never complained. He would whisper softly, "Thank you, God. Even one coin is a blessing." That day, he had earned only one small coin after many hours. He looked at it, sighed, and smiled a little. It wasn't much, but it was enough for a piece of bread. As he stood up to buy food, he noticed a little girl sitting by the wall nearby. She looked weak, her face pale, and she was crying quietly. Thomas slowly walked to her and asked, "Child, what's wrong?" She said, "My mother is sick. I wanted to buy medicine, but I lost my money." Thomas looked at the coin in his hand. It was all he had. His stomach was empty, and his legs were tired. For a moment, he looked at the bakery on the corner, the smell of warm bread making him dizzy. Then, he looked back at the crying girl. He slowly placed the coin in her hand and said, "Here, my child, buy what your mother needs. Maybe today you need it more than I do." The girl's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "Thank you, sir." Then she ran away quickly. Thomas smiled softly and whispered to himself, "God will feed me in another way." That night, Thomas sat under a bridge, weak and hungry. But in his heart, he felt peaceful. He looked at the stars and said, "I may have nothing, but I gave something good today." As he slowly fell asleep, a car stopped nearby. A man stepped out tall, dressed in a suit. He walked toward Thomas. "Excuse me, sir," the man said. "Are you the one who gave a coin to a little girl today?" Thomas nodded, confused. The man smiled and said, "That girl is my daughter. She ran home crying, holding your coin. When I found out what you did, I wanted to thank you." Thomas looked surprised. "You don't have to thank me, sir. I just did what felt right." The man nodded, still smiling. "You gave away your last coin. I want to give you a chance to start over." He handed Thomas a card. It said, "Mr. David Carter, owner, Carter Foods." He offered Thomas a job in his bakery, cleaning tables and packing bread. From that day, everything changed. Thomas worked honestly every morning, and Mr. Carter treated him like family. Slowly, he saved some money, bought clean clothes, and even rented a small room. A year later, he became the bakery store manager. He would often tell young workers, "I started with nothing, just one coin and a good heart." One day, Mr. Carter said, "Thomas, you gave me something more valuable than money that day. You reminded me what kindness means." He smiled and handed him a document. It was a share in the company. Thomas couldn't believe it. Tears rolled down his cheeks. "I was a beggar. How can this be?" Mr. Carter smiled. "You gave when you had nothing. That's what true wealth looks like." Years later, people knew Thomas not as a beggar, but as the kind man who once gave away his last coin and found a new life in return. So there is a lesson for all of us. True kindness doesn't wait for wealth. It begins when you have little but still choose to share. When you give from the heart, life gives back in ways you never expect.